You're looking at the desktop of a scammer, and he's mid-scam. At the moment, he's trying to convince his victim that these errors and warnings, which are part of Event Viewer, are the result of a hack. He's lying, of course.
These are the messages which is sent by the Windows team on your computer. These are the malicious and the malware links which is sent by those hackers on your computer.
This is all part of a very standard script, and this group have been using that script for years. I first encountered this group back in 2015.
Enough to crash a computer at any point of the time, but you are lucky enough that your computer is still working.
I've just switched on the scammer's webcam, and you'll see in the next few minutes that he tries to figure out which application has turned the light on. He thinks it's the VoIP application X-Lite because it has a built-in camera. But of course it's not. It's me.
Right. Now, let me go ahead and check out the status of the services of your machine just to make sure the services of your computer are working fine or not. Okay?
He's mid-scam, so he keeps carrying on regardless. What a professional.
You can see over here it says system configuration.
You'll see a colleague peer over his shoulder occasionally, and that's because there's about 10 people who work in this call centre. They give their name as Home IT Master, but that's a fake name. I'll say exactly who they are towards the end of this video.
Each and every single service is very important for a computer because it's run and operated by Microsoft Corporation. And if I talk about your computer, so it has been 70 to 80% services of your computer have been stopped, which is not running whatsoever.
Home IT Master will phone people in the UK trying to get them to fall for tech support scams, and that's exactly what's going on here. He will give his name as Peter, but in fact his real name is Jayant Sharma. And Jayant is still desperately trying to find out why his webcam light is on.
Right, so if you haven't stopped these services, that simply means that the hackers who've been connected with your computer, they have stopped the services of your computer.
He brings up a spreadsheet of all the people he scammed in the month of March. All the ones in green are the people that he's recontacted and got yet more money out of.
Right, because if you have a look, sir, all the services are in check and there is no option to enable all. There is an option to disable all, but there is no option to enable all.
The spreadsheet behind all of this contains credit card details in plain text.
So this is why we need to update them all. Okay? Now, being a vice person and a computer user, what do you understand by the word drivers for a computer?
The scam relies on the people at the end of the phone not really knowing what he's talking about, and he sounds convincing enough to get them to make a payment. But this particular company follow it up with lots more phone calls. They will sell their victims something for hundreds of pounds, and then a few weeks later ring them back to say they've got a hacker problem and they'll need to spend more money.
Our drivers are, I'm going to check it on Google. Okay?
I'll fast forward through this part because it's all part of a standard script. He will identify a process called CSRSS, a legitimate process, and do a Google search for it. But it's not a real Google search. Watch what he does.
And let's see what Google says about it. Okay?
He opens up a notepad on his own PC and copies this link.
I hope the Google is visible.
Then he does a Google search for CSRSS, and instead of relying on the Google search result, he will simply paste that link into the victim's browser.
At the very top it says client runtime process. I'm just clicking on that.
So now the victim believes that it's the first and top result on Google search engine when it's nothing of the sort.
I want you to read out these two paragraphs for me which I've just highlighted for you with the blue color.
All of this builds on a narrative. He wants the victim to believe he really does have a hacker problem.
Right. So you can see by yourself how harmful this program is for your computer. The same program is used on your computer 26 times.
Another lie, the process just runs at a lower priority than most.
And sir, that means the hackers have intentionally installed this program on your computer, and with the help of this program they are accessing your computer from remote locations. Not only that, sir, with the help of this program they are using your personal information for criminal activities and fraud purchases. Okay.
It does seem incredible that people believe some of these lies, but unfortunately this happens every day, and this company make a fortune out of it.
I'm going ahead and running a free instant scan on your computer. This scan will take 1.5 minutes.
And of course no scam would be complete without running the tree command and typing something that the scammer wants the victim to see.
The scan is going on. I hope it's visible to you.
But we can now see and hear him typing.
The scan will read out the entire data, whatever you have got. And at the end, this will let us know how we can stop everything to be happening, okay?
Once his message has been typed, he can sit back and relax, waiting for the tree command to complete before what he has typed is displayed.
Oh, the scan is being stopped now, sir. Could you please,
Oops, a spelling mistake.
I wanted to ask you that for what purpose do you use the computer, sir?
So he thinks of a question to distract the owner while he corrects this mistake.
Now, could you please read out the last line of the scan for me?
Once corrected, it's safe for the victim to read out his message. But of course, this scam is all about getting money out of the victim, and I've forward wound through the next 8 minutes of the scam because they all pretty much follow the same pattern. So how do they get payment?
Okay, sir, I would like to know from you, how far is Manchester from your place?
Home IT Master pretend that they work in a business park in Manchester and even have a Manchester phone number.
Because, sir, physically the security is only available in Manchester.
Very sneakily, this scammer runs the syskey command, effectively locking the victim out of his own PC. Microsoft have removed the syskey command just because it was so abused by scammers.
Right. Like I said, physically it's only available in Manchester. But if you really wish to save your computer, your other devices, your name, your identity, being a multinational company, we do support some online stores. You must have heard about the online stores names like eBay, Amazon, Home IT Master. Yeah.
Yeah, that well-known international store Home IT Master? Anyone?
Sir, I am going to fix it for you.
At this stage, the victim has got a bit suspicious and he is now asking for the scammer to restore his PC back to its fully working form. But of course, Giant wants money. So he starts doing things like hiding the taskbar and removing some applications from
No,
the
sir,
desktop.
I'm just trying to tell you that there is a requirement of a security system which you have to get by yourself. That's all I'm saying. You don't need to pay any money to me, sir. Our services is free of charge. There is a requirement of a security system. Security system is something which is not comes for free. Your computer scan itself says that you do require.
The victim is becoming increasingly angry and now just wants him off his computer.
So, sir, I am. If you give me 10 to 15 seconds, I will speak to any of the online store, and I can tell you about the price and the packages and the time frames of this network security to you, sir.
By this stage, his taskbar is hidden,
Right?
most of the applications have been removed from that taskbar, and his background has been changed and modified to come down from the top of the screen.
We can't leave this computer as it is, as the lady have told you in the first place. That in order to stop the hackers, we have only two options. Either we need to stop the hackers from your computer, or else we need to stop you for using this computer by by canceling the license of your computer. Because once we cancel the license of your computer, that means from tomorrow onwards, neither you would be able to use that computer anymore and nor the hackers.
And while the victim is still being pestered, he decides to download some personal files off the victim's PC. With Supremo,
No,
the
sir.
victim doesn't even know that
You
this
won't
guy
be
is
able to
downloading his
access any of your
files.
personal data until and unless you won't put this. Sir, and nothing have been deleted from your system yet. But if we cancel the license of your.
Nothing has been deleted yet. The scammer keeps upping the ante and is now getting threatening.
Sir, we are not authorized to check your personal stuff like that. But we can't leave this computer.
He claims he's not authorised to check personal stuff as he's rooting through this guy's pictures.
So, sir, I haven't told you the price yet. So, why you don't want to stop the hackers? Why don't want you to spend? Okay, I'll tell you the price of this network security. Okay, you will get the lifetime package of it, the one-time payment for the entire life. Okay, only and only for £45 and 99 pence.
He chooses £45 because this is the minimum amount that his website allows. Many other victims have been scammed for thousands.
I have mentioned, sir, I have mentioned three stores in front of you: eBay, Amazon, Home IT Master. You can purchase it from anywhere.
Fortunately, this potential victim was able to persuade the scammer to restore his machine to its original working order. However, he was just about to apply another sys key when the victim pulled the plug on the computer. This was a good move. But if you didn't realise that it was a scam, what exactly would Home IT Master do to your PC? What sort of software would they leave there, and how would they convince you that they were a legitimate company? I watched a few times as this company would rename some DOS batch files and upload this to their victims' PCs. I had to look very carefully at what those batch files actually did. Here are two real files which they did upload to some victims' PCs. The first one just clears the event viewer, and the second one claims to be an email protector, but as you can see here, it does a few pings, says it's updating, and actually does nothing whatsoever. If you relied on this to protect your email, you'd be in deep trouble. So who exactly are Home IT Master, and just how much money do they really make on these scams? The real company name is QTech BPO, that's Business Process Outsourcing, and they're based in Kanpur in the north of India. Their operation is located in a shopping mall on the 4th floor, room 408, and the details of their address are shown on screen now. But what shocked me most about QTech was the sheer amount of personal information which they stored unencrypted on their PCs. This is a list of personal information and spreadsheets on most of their victims. And each of those text files contained a lot of personal information: the full name, telephone number, email address and postal address, followed by a call password, something I've seen scammers use a lot these days. But most shockingly, he had full unencrypted debit card details for this victim. The scammer also had the sort code and account number of his bank account and his date of birth, and when I looked at these text files, they were mostly people in their 70s and 80s. He had a list of how much had been scammed, in this case over £3,000 in a year, and the Supremo ID and password for potentially multiple devices. This would mean that the scammers could regain access at will. But it was the spreadsheets which gave me the most information. Not only did it detail all the victims' details, but I could see clearly what the names of all the scammers were as well. I counted 10 individuals and their names are on screen. But I also had all of the email addresses of the victims. The ones in green had money taken multiple times and the ones in white just once. And these agents in QTech BPO would concentrate on the ones in white to make sure that they had extracted as much money as possible. So while one set of scammers were extracting money from existing customers, another set were trying to get new customers recruited like this.
Am I talking to Miss George? Yeah, hi, Miss George. How are you this evening, ma'am? Are you okay? That's good to know, ma'am. Well, ma'am, this side is Edward Carey. I'm calling you from Windows Computer Customer Care Department. Ma'am, this call is in regards with the Windows computer or the Windows laptop which you possess, Miss George. Sorry to bother you. Sorry.
Each scammer would take a note on who they needed to call back and even took notes on who trusted them. So I needed a way to stop Home IT Master from scamming more people, and usually the easiest way to do this is to have a look at what their payment gateway is. On their website they password protect their payment pages, but it's not difficult to work out what that password is. In fact, it's in clear text at the bottom of the source code. Here it is. So if you use that username and password, you can see the various packages on offer. These are the amounts that they will charge each victim, and sometimes they will add a quantity of these options just to make sure that they get as much money as possible. They will fill in the personal details of the person who's being scammed and finally make the payment. But this is the weak spot in their scam. They make use of a third-party payment gateway called RedSys, which is a Spanish company. Depending on which checkbox the agent has ticked, the payment will go through Comercia Global Payments, Bankia, or Rural Via. I don't know what these differences are, but I've passed all this information on to RedSys. The report of fraud was made much more difficult because their complaints page only seems to work in Internet Explorer. However, they did agree that they would process this complaint. But even a week after I had made my initial complaint, I noticed that the payment gateway still seemed to be working. I haven't had any follow-up from RedSys whatsoever, so I can only assume they haven't done anything, and they're still accepting payments from this scam organisation. But I figured that they mightn't respond to me since I'm not a victim, so instead I emailed every one of the 686 victims an email to tell them how they had been scammed by this company. The email included a suggestion about how to get their money back. It wasn't easy emailing 600 plus people, but I got a bit of help from Neep, who's also a fellow scam baiter. I've left a link to his channel, which is extremely interesting, in the description on this video. The early signs look promising. I did hear back from 1 or 2 individuals to say that it is possible to get their money back, but that they really have to fight for it. Let's hope that QTech BPO don't shut up shop very quickly and make a run with their earnings. Lastly, I want to say a very big thank you to everyone who supports me here on Patreon. Without your support, it simply wouldn't be possible to create videos like this because I wouldn't be able to have the time that it needs to follow up on some of these scams. So once again, thank you so much for supporting me.